Welcome, welcome. Welcome in if you're here. Excuse me. Y'all, just give me a few seconds to get my camera together before we get into this conversation. Okay. Yeah, I have a new wig today. You definitely do. Excuse me. I'm gonna be working on my nails while I talk about this. Um, that needs to be talked about, you know? Oh, oh my God. Lord have mercy. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Just gonna try to wait for a few people to come in, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And as you already know, you can, as you already know, you can replay the video. But I am also dropping the live on what's it called? My Facebook as well. And I'm just waiting for a few minutes for us to get started. Okay. So I guess we can just kind of go right into it while I'm doing my other stuff that I have to do. And basically, I want to talk about like, I was having some conversations with my cousin last night about different things that was happening in my childhood. Like things that were just, we all have our gripes with childhood and stuff like that. So it just made me wonder, when I decided to become a parent, I know for a fact that I was not becoming a parent because I knew what I was doing. I was trying to correct someone else's mistake. And this is where a lot of people get parenthood extremely confused, because there are, excuse me, there are millions of children around the world, number one, that do not have families. Hello, welcome in. That does not have families. And those kids are just left out because people decided to have kids and didn't want to, didn't fully think the entire thing through. So we have that. And then we have people who want to biologically get pregnant and biologically want to start their family. Greetings, welcome in, y'all. That want to, like, oh, I want a family of my own. And it's such an emotional decision to make. It's such an emotional decision to make because you're not understanding that once you have a child, you are literally developing someone's thought process. You are helping them develop their personality, um, so much. And if you are not going to go about that in a very unselfish way, in a very selfless way, then this is why we have the issues that we have with the children today. This is why we have, um, you know, it's just a lot of it's a lot of buffoonery, to be honest with you, because I just hear, especially people that like chronically get pregnant. People who chronically get pregnant, they'll have kids from like two, three, four, five different people, and do not have. And I'm speaking to women. I really don't have time to. I'm not going here about the men right now because that's not where I'm trying to get at. Because in my last video, women have always been in leadership, and with that being said, since we are the ones that have the babies that can decide whether or not the baby gonna be born or not, this is really where the conversation. This is where the conversation goes to. This is who I want the message to spread to. So when we're thinking about having, or when we're having children with multiple people, and then you don't have a amicable relationship with those people, and they're not pouring into the children that they help you procreate, then that's another issue too as well. Then when we have our children, sometimes after we didn't had these children with these multiple people, or maybe not multiple people, maybe we just had them with one person, who knows, whatever. But if you have multiple children, you have one child, however many, you having the children, you make the child is here. Now the child is starting to develop, especially like at that age, like 4, 5, and 6. Like they start asking questions. They are like, some people call it having an attitude, being bad, whatever the case is. And that's when traits from the other person or other people in your generational line start to come out. And I believe, especially in our community, in our culture, we take a lot of those, what we feel are kids acting bad or fast or being disrespectful. We take that to a different level. Because if you remember, if you even like when you watch TV now, when you was in school, people wanted to fight. People were constantly wanting to fight. They wanted to fight, especially if you was in Chicago. Like, oh my God, it's a fight every day. It's a fight all day. It's a fight every minute. Right now, you can leave this channel and go to another channel. It's a fight happening right now in Chicago. So, and I'm not saying that like to diss my city at all. I'm just saying like, hey, we fight. But I thought about like where this concept of somebody look at you the wrong way, you got to smack them, or don't let nobody play you, don't let nobody treat you like no hoe, don't let nobody do this to you, don't let nobody do that. Why is it that we don't think that back in the day when our parents or their parents they said something that the parent didn't like, whack, you got slapped, like on some slavery type shit too, like you got slapped or beat because of something that you said, because the adult didn't agree with what you said. So that later turns into, you can beat people up, you can smack people, you can become violent to people because you don't like what I said, or because I don't like what you said. What you said was disrespectful. So disrespect, any form of disrespect now means, oh, you can get smacked. If I walk by you and I do this, I can get smacked. I can't use my eyeballs. I can't do what I want to do with my eyes because it triggers someone, you know. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're getting into. We're going to start off with that. A lot of things that we was taught today, parents today, the millennials, a lot of stuff that we were taught was wrong. It was very slave induced. And when I say slave induced, like this whatever was going on in slavery, and this is not a conversation about that. Whatever happened in slavery, whatever happened back in 19 in the 17, and they was beaten to get people to submit, we got to get out of that, because that's what's happening right now. Our parents was beat into submission. Our parents was beat into obediency. And that's the last thing that you want to do as we move on into the 2020s, or moving out of the 2020s, going into the 2030s. We should have a definite different way of disciplining our children. And this is not about soft parenting either, because no, you got to stand, you got to put your foot down. You definitely have to be strong with these kids, but at the same time, slapping a kid because they said why, or I don't want that, or having what kid, my daughter did this to me the other day. She was like, I told her she couldn't do something, and she turned around and she folded her arms and she was like, and she kind of stomped off. Now I know that if my aunties, okay, would have seen that, oh no, they would have been grabbing their heart and chest. Why is she not beaten to the next week? What you mean, why she not beaten to the next week? Because she and people don't understand this is how disassociated and desensitized we are to just the natural human experience. But people have natural reactions to things, especially when you're upset. And then when you're a kid, especially if you're a child and you have all these questions and things, like everything is, you're bound to ask questions. You're bound to be like, oh my God. And the first thing that a lot of people in our community want to straight rush to is smacking, cussing out sometimes. Ladies, women's, black women, if you have sons, you I know we gotta put our foot down, especially if we're raising them alone, but demasculizing them and cussing them out is going to cause serious issues later. The type of respect that you think that you're gaining by talking to that kid now in place of, because what'll happen is too now people be cussing out their kids. I mean, like cussing them kids out, but then those kids always got like the newest Jordans. They all the boys they got the newest Jordans. They always looking fly, and that's a serious issue because now you're teaching your sons that this abusive word verbiage is normal, and it can also be rewarded. So we need to stop. We need to get out of that. We really need to get in. We need to get out of that. That's just crazy to me. I don't get it. I don't want anybody, thinking that I'm being biased or anything, or I don't know. Like sometimes women get on this high horse, and I'm not here because women is gonna always be forever like up here. We are the bar. We are the standard of the bar, and this is just one of those spaces where we need to talk about that type of stuff. Like we need to be like seriously in tune with that. Why do we? And then the things that we watch on TV too. If y'all watch, like, you remember Gladiator, that's what's happening in social media and not social, well, maybe a little bit social media, but like the stuff that they put on, like when they started out with Bad Girls Club, when they started out with these reality shows inflicting more violence, and all of these shows they show in the show say something I don't like, oh, I'm gonna smack you, we gonna fight, we gonna run a fade because you don't like what I said. And this is the message that's being uh given to the children. That's why they out here getting in trouble, fighting, world star, all of that stuff, because people think that you can slap somebody because they said something that you did not like. And that is preposterous. So, I don't know. I don't know how y'all going. I don't know how we gonna get that together. But we need to figure it out. So right now I am just um I'm trying to share. Oh, that's right, because my phone doesn't have it. I'm trying to share the live to my other platforms. And I'm having a sparkling Celsius this morning because I'm getting ready to do some chores, some cleaning up, and then I don't know, me and my cousin, I think I want to let me and my cousin is here visiting with the kids. So my kids, they all had like a little sleepover, but I put them to bed because they was just doing too much. I'm talking about like they was literally crawling on the wall. Like my one little cousin, he likes Spider-Man. So like he's like turning into Spider-Man. So he like literally he be climbing on the walls and stuff. And then he done taught Soraya how to do it too. So but they good. They're good. They're all good. But seriously though, people need to think about why they're having children. Why did you decide to have a kid? Why do you want to keep having kids and having kids and having kids when the relationship with the children's fathers that you had, with the children that you already had, where the father is not a good standing relationship? And why would you want to bring more children into that? And then on top of that too, it's just so strange to me is why people want to have kids in a society that they know is ran by pedophilia. See, I didn't know any better when I was having, and that's why I had kids when I was young. And I'm glad when I had my second set of children, which I adopted, I did not have out my body, and I did that. That's a whole nother video. But saying that to say, like, bruh, if I would have known like the just how things would turn out and how they would be, as far as like you have to really, when you have children, like you have to really like the amount of protection and then what goes into that mentally and emotionally, like that is crazy to me. It's just crazy to me because you have to be seriously selfless, and you really literally have to sacrifice your personality in sometimes situations to procure the protection of that child's innocence so that they're able to just grow up and be normal and be a regular kid. That's why people homeschool their children now. And I have nothing against people that do not homeschool their kids because it's not my kid. I can only speak on as far as I can give you my opinion, my theory, my philosophy on these things, and I can tell you what I do, and I can then, inform why other people may do what they do. But that's why a lot of people homeschool their children. It's not just about it's literally it's not just about whatever, like the little petty stuff that people thinking about, like, I want them to learn about this and this and that. No, it's actually to protect them. Your children are away from you, especially when I'm talking to women. This child that you incubated in your body, that you did all of this stuff to, you send this child to a place for 8 hours a day on top of their extracurricular activities. That child is being developed and formed through and influenced by many other people throughout the day. Your little tiny influence, and people will say all day, oh, well, that's why you got to teach them at home. You don't have no time to teach them at home because you at work for 9, 10, 12 plus hours sometimes, or there may be a parent in the house that's just a deadbeat, just sitting on the couch eating potatoes, chips, and shit. So you have to think about that. Because when your kid goes to school, trust and believe, there's another kid at the school who's got a phone, some type of digital device where they can go on, they can show and expose, you know. So we need to get, we need to do better. We need to do better when it comes to that sort of thing right there. And I don't think it's um that big of a deal. Like if you decided that you were going to go through all of those changes, especially as women, when you decide that you're going to go through all of these changes, like literally ask yourself, why am I becoming a parent? I was treated a certain way when I was a kid. And I know, and my sister and I talk about this all the time. Well, why did you like, why? Okay, we became parents because we thought that if we became parents, that we would be making a being that was going to love us and we were going to show the world how to love. That's where a lot of teens be thinking in their head. Meanwhile, the adults are just like, oh, you don't know what you're prepared for. And you don't, instead of just saying, like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. I did not know what I was doing with you. Nobody knows what they're doing when they have a kid. Nobody knows because each of these people that come into the world, these new children, when they come, they're different people. We don't know what they're going to turn into or who they're going to be. We're just here guiding them along in the process. But we can't guide them correctly along in the process if we don't be true to ourselves, if we're not being honest with ourselves, if we're not being honest with the past, if we're not doing constant work to make sure that we are not being a part of the problem of dismantling these kids' innocence and not giving them a chance to actually, number one, just be children and then actually be introduced into society as, you know, good members. You feel me? It's really it's not that difficult, you know. So I'm just hoping that, like, when women decide that they want to have children, they're really just thinking about what is why. And I don't understand what this whole, I'm gonna research on this a little bit, but I want to know why is it that, well, I know biologically women, like, as we go through these things and we want to have a baby, like we feel like, oh, we want to have a baby, but girl, why do you really want to have a baby? Because the odds out here of you having a baby with somebody and the man actually sticking around and doing the right thing. And I don't mean sticking around just because he's paying the bills. We are past paying the bills. Anybody can pay bills, okay? Anybody can go and get a job and pay some bills and get into a, like, we're not even going to go there. That's so surface level. But is that person going to be there for you while you are recuperating for the next 2, 3 years? Are they going to actually be there for you? And in order for you to, you really truly will never know that unless you are like the discernment goddess. You really truly won't know that, but you can know that by taking your time. And ladies, I know this, we talk about parenting, mothers, especially when Mother's Day is approaching. And I made a video a couple years ago about the sanctity of motherhood. Honey, keep your legs closed. If these people are not overly compensating or overly making your life easier, okay, please, come on. Like, let it go. It's not that serious. It will never, it will never be that serious to me. Like, it could never be that serious. So I'm just hoping, with all that being said, that, oh, yeah, I'm hoping that with all that being said, like, people can get, like, start thinking about that because what the hell? I just know that I don't want to I know after I had my second son, I was like, wow, I did this again. And here I am. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do this anymore. I did always want children, though. I wanted lots of children. I don't know how I feel about that now, but after raising them and being around them for so long, I don't necessarily know if I want to, have any more. But I knew after I had my sons, I did not want to go through the whole birthing process again. I thought that that was crazy, and it didn't help that my auntie she showed me that movie Alien versus Predator when I was like 7, 8, 9, I don't know. And you remember that movie where Sigourney Weaver she had gave birth to the predator, and I was like, and I remember like I knew around that time, I knew that this was how I know that women got pregnant, and that's where like I was educated at a very young age on the biology and what would happen, like how and where babies came from. I was never told it came from a stork and no stupid stuff like that. So when I seen that movie, I was like, oh my god, like seriously, oh my god. And then I decided to go ahead and have the children. I made that. I just will never forget the reasoning behind making that decision to have my first child. Like I'm gonna have this child to love me, and it's gonna be me and my kid. And I think around that time too, because I know after I think around that time too, that show Teen Mom was going on. Now, I had not seen Teen Mom prior to me being pregnant. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit up here and say that that had anything to do with my decision, but I remember that once I became pregnant and I was like 5 or 6 months pregnant, I remember that show was airing on MTV and I was like, what? Why are they showing this? And I know a lot of women were like, we shouldn't be discriminating against teen girls. Because I remember back in the day, like when you would get pregnant, like back in the day, like if you was to get pregnant and you wasn't married and you was a teen, like they'll ship you down south to go be with your people to hide the pregnancy because being pregnant as a teen was an abomination. Now, I don't know who made up that rule. I have no idea, nor do I care. However, um, when they came out with that show, I mean, to me, they were glorifying teen pregnancy. They were like, girl, go ahead and get pregnant because you might be able to get on MTV. And then they were also showing, they just documenting how the lives of a teen and teenagers being pregnant. And it was just, girl, and them people today, go check them people out today. One of them people had adopted one of their children out and was still seeing the kid, and then they wound up having another kid. Like, not only were they doing teen pregnancy, but they mixed teen pregnancy and they exploited it on Hollywood. What the heck? So parenting is not for the weak. I feel like your reasoning behind parenthood, and I think my reasoning behind parenthood now is I just want to preserve what is left of the innocence. I want to preserve what's left of the innocence of the children. I want to protect that because children are so like they really can brighten up your life and your world when you treat them right and and nobody like and that's another thing too. People are I don't know what people think parenting is supposed to be. Like I don't know if they think it's supposed to be like, oh, you have a baby and you have a baby and then like, oh, my little kid, I get to dress my little mini me. Like, what is it? You have the like, what is really honest? I want to know what some of y'all's opinions are about this. Like, what if you have kids? Why did you decide to have them? Like, why did you decide to do that? And how's it going now? How is that going for you right now? Like when you have the children, because I'm curious. Because I be sitting here questioning myself. Child, you decided to do that? But and I said, yeah, I did. And the reason why I did though, I had a whole reason behind why I did it though. It was because I wanted to do something different. I was adopted. I wanted to make sure that nothing like my bloodline, anybody with my blood, they not gonna suffer. Anybody with Nikki blood is not gonna suffer. We put that on big goddess, okay? Not gonna happen. So if I could be, of any assistance or help, we're not gonna even do that one right there. But I don't know, like I'm just curious to know like why did y'all decide to have children and do you want more? My children are waking up, so I'm gonna probably get up off of here. I might come on here later with my cousin. Well, she said she wasn't gonna get on live, but we're gonna be talking. She's not gonna be on the live, but we'll probably be talking. Um, but yeah, child, people should not also too. The one thing, if you do not get along, if you still have hard feelings against your parents or whoever raised you or whatever happened to you when you were growing up, you shouldn't have children until you like fully resolve that. And I don't think people should be having no more kids. They should be adopting the kids right now that don't have nobody, that does not have nothing. But these people are like, oh no, I want it to come from my DNA. Your DNA is already scrapped. That's something that's another thing that I don't think people understand either. Like your DNA is already trash. Like why would you want to make more of that? Your daddy wasn't shit. Your mama wasn't shit. Your granddaddy wasn't shit. Your grandmama wasn't shit. You talking about you want to go and pollute, and I'm talking about like you want to go and conceive to make, and you haven't gotten right with yourself. I'm not saying that people should not get pregnant. I'm saying, what's your real purpose behind it? Because in my opinion, when you think about it spiritually, if you have not cleaned up or did the work to clean your tie with a toxic lineage, you just making more demon babies. And y'all can be mad at me and say what you want, but I don't care. I didn't come on here for nobody's clearance. None. Cause baby, we ain't even play that type of game. Yeah. So don't come on here talking about my wigs either, because if you don't like it, buy one. Buy me one. But I don't care. Yeah, I've just been really working on my skin. I think for me, I've been noticing like my little puffy lines and stuff right here. I feel like I probably should stop smoking. I've been just like, I'm putting that out there. Like, yeah, I'm a smoker. I think I should stop smoking. I noticed that sometimes when I take a break from smoking, I feel like it brightens my face and I look very much younger than what I look right now. Excuse me. And I always look pretty young, but I could just tell that the smoking, and I don't smoke no cigarettes. You know what I'm talking about? I don't smoke no cigarettes, and I don't smoke anything that I do smoke. I don't use tobacco or anything with nicotine in it because we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. We want to be healthy, schmelty around here. So, but I'm thinking, I don't know what y'all think. What do you guys know about? Mm, I think the smoking has like it blocks off the oxygen in your skin, or it don't like help blood flow. I don't know people have a lot of things to say. Some people are like, I've been smoking for 1900 years and there's nothing wrong with me. But then again, guys, we are not the same. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. Everybody got something different going on. So that's another thing too. Like, seriously, women when they have these daughters, when first of all, women when you have children in any instance and you are single mothering it, baby, why do y'all be letting these men know where y'all live at, come into the house after you only talk to them for a month or a week or even a few months? These men be in y'all house around the kids. Why? And some of these fools, y'all be letting some of these people in y'all house that get with your kids, and they don't even be at the house with their own kids. And then when they do try to go to their house to go with their baby mama, y'all be like, he just going over there to have with her. Of course he is, but them still his kids. That he don't ever go around because you scared he gonna do it with the baby mama. So that's what I'm saying. Like, really question why you're having children. Why are you doing it? Why you want to have kids? And if you had your children, why did you have them? And what are you doing now to preserve and protect their innocence? Because I don't get biblical, I'm spiritual. But there's something in the Bible. There's like a story in the Bible or scripture or something, and God is telling these people to not offer your children up to Molech. Y'all know who Molech is. So that's what's going on up in Hollywood with all them Epstein people and all of that stuff that be happening with that. That's what they're referring to. And not only is what you're referring to, but anytime you're doing something where you are procuring an environment for your child's innocence to be tampered with, which is definitely public school today, you have to think about that. Because that's what you're doing. You offering your child up to a God that eats babies. That eats the souls of children. It's real. It's not like, and you can look at it, literally, you can look at it not literally, you can look at it metaphorically, you can look at it fictionally, non fictionally. It don't matter which way you look at it. You can look at it however you want to look at it. But I'm telling you right now, that's what's happening when you don't procure. When you are making a decision to do something with the child to make your life easier or make it less stressful on you, leaving your children for 8 hours a day with strangers is absurd. It's absurd. Because I could just remember being in school having to deal with certain things. And those who know, like millennials, like we went through so much bullying. We went through so much bullying, and there was no laws, there was no rules, there was none of that. And today, kids still bully. They just do it differently. Like they come up with their own little language, like we did, and they do it. That's what they do. Then you got them sick teachers who ain't got caught yet doing certain things just because they don't have a background. It just mean they ain't got caught yet, or they ain't got caught, and maybe they might not get caught, especially if you keep on giving them access to what they want. I want for women to internalize this message, and I want y'all to think about what you guys can do to put yourself in a position to where you don't have to leave your children with strangers. Some people are very fortunate to have a big circle or village. Not everybody has that. So I think what I'm going to talk about later is creating that village. How are we going to create that village for people who don't have that support right now? Because if you already had the kids, you had the kids. So we can't talk about in the past too much. We can reflect on it and be like, hey, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm not going to make the same type of decision, that'll lead me down that path again. But something you could do about it. But we can use it to learn from and move on smoothly. And the main thing is at this point, like, we need to figure out how you gonna, what was the reason behind having these children. You have to really figure that out, because why you had those children is probably was not the most logical or smart decision. So we have to make those lemons into some lemonade. We have to turn those decisions into something that we can teach the next generation, so that they don't have to go through what we went through, and just make the world a better place. That's all. That's the only thing I can think of, is just literally thinking about why now. Why did I decide to have kids? Was I in love with this guy? Was he telling me, were we just making love and he was just whispering and it sounded good at the time? And what was it? Did you see, like, did you were you creating a fantasy of this life with this person, and you were just gonna, like, y'all was just gonna skip off into the sunset or something like that? Because if that is the reason why you decided to have a child, you need to re-evaluate everything. You need to reevaluate everything, because now you are dealing with a live human that don't have nothing to do with why you thought you was having a kid. That you, like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Like, seriously, think about that. You really have to think about that. So especially like, if it's not working out with the person either too, if it's not working out, didn't work out with that individual, can't get that person to commit, can't get that person to do what he's supposed to do or give you the money or whatever, not whatever it is going on, you need to reevaluate now why and what. And then we can get into, okay, now it becomes about the child. And I know some people too, I'm going to say this too before I get off here. Some people will argue, well, it doesn't matter how good you raise a child or what this case is. And some people, because a lot of people believe different things on why we're here, how we get here, birth, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say that as women, we are the only people on the planet that have the decision to get pregnant or to not be pregnant. We are the only people that can actually go forth with that. Once we find out, oh, there's a kid, we have to evaluate our life, our lifestyle, whatever the case is, and then go on from there. We are the people that are in charge of that. If the person that we procreated with, that person could live or die today. You could be so in love with that person could be the perfect person, and that person could get hit by a bus tomorrow or die in a plane crash. Who knows? Whatever. Anything can happen. And then you are there. You gonna be there now, holding the life. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Why do you want to have children? Why did you want to have children? What led you to this decision? And I digressed a little bit because I was about to say something, but I lost my thought. But I'm gonna just say, keep thinking about it. Come up with, I don't know. But I think I'm gonna come back on here. I'm gonna piggyback off a piggybank. I'm gonna piggyback off of this a little bit later. I'm gonna come back on here and piggyback off of this a little bit later because it's clearly a conversation that needs to be had. Clearly a conversation that needs to be had with ourselves as women. We need to have this conversation. Like, girl, why did I decide to do this? Because I just see like now, like I notice like we'll have the kids and then it's just like, damn, I'm doing it by myself. So what the fuck is the point? Then we will start to neglect certain things about ourselves and even the kids because we're not in alignment of what is going on, what is happening in this reality. So, with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get up off of here, y'all. My kids is waking up. I'm gonna go clean my house this Saturday. It's 10:30. It's kind of late actually, but I've been up. I've been up since early doing my skincare. I've been staying on top of my skincare every day, and I think I am noticing some improvements. But I didn't have bad skin. I've never had bad skin, to be honest. I just want everything to look flush and smooth when I come on this camera and be presenting these talks to y'all. I just want y'all to be like, what did she do? And I want you to look just as bouncy and beautiful so I can have something to tell y'all what to do. Yes, this is my wig right here. Her name on the wig was Nisha, but this wig is not giving Nisha. This wig is definitely giving Maybell. Maybell. Cause somebody come tell Maybell to come and get that cornbread out the oven. Yes, sir. Okay, I'm up out of here for real though. Think about what I said. We gonna get back into this, and now I know how to turn the live off. So last time I ain't gonna be looking crazy. I love y'all. Y'all be safe out here and have a good weekend. It's your girl Nikki. Bye.